Hello, and welcome to Unity of Fredericksburg. My name is Linda, and I am pleased to welcome all of you to the Unity of Fredericksburg weekly online gathering. At Unity of Fredericksburg, we are advancing the movement of spiritual awakening and transformation through unity, a positive path for spiritual living. We thank those of you watching on YouTube, live or later, and invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're able to attend live, we encourage you to join us in the Zoom community room for the full Sunday morning experience, including music, prayer, and connection. Our weekly newsletter includes a Sunday service link, and you can subscribe to receive that on our website at uofva.org. For everyone local to Central Virginia, Unity of Fredericksburg offers a variety of fun and enriching in-person gatherings every month. Subscribe to our weekly newsletter at uofva.org for all the details. Our message and meditation today comes from Reverend Dr. Raymont Anderson. His eclectic background has led to where he currently lives his bliss as an educator, classes, workshops, seminars, etc., minister, author, visual artist, ASL performing artist, mentor, father, grandfather, and more. Reverend Raymont does his best to give people relevant and applicable tools and practices that enable them to live a more fulfilled life, a life where people recognize, realize, and materialize their full divine potential. As an ordained Centers for Spiritual Living minister, he serves as the founding minister and the spiritual director of the Center for Spiritually Integrated Arts. And now here is Reverend Dr. Raymont Anderson.
Konnichiwa. Hola. Bonjour. Hey, Unity of Fredericksburg. What's up? Namaste and greetings. Thank you once again for the opportunity to be here with you all. Happy New Year. Happy New You. Let's breathe because, I do my best to shake the boat, to poke the bear, to move us into this next level of evolutionary way of being. And today, I want to talk to you about something that has been sort of percolating in my consciousness ever since surgery, when I got diagnosed with cancer a couple of years ago, post-surgery, the whole healing process. And I've been like in this space of, specifically because in many ways, my New Thought colleagues were not beneficial. Take that in. Many of my New Thought colleagues, the community, there were many people who attempted to use the cancer diagnosis to blame and shame me. So I started looking at, well, why? What's going on? And it led me down this path to what I'm referring to as living beyond the beyond and living this trans-spiritual way of living. Okay? Now, you may be wondering, what exactly does he mean by trans-spiritual living? Or what does he mean by living beyond the beyond? Well, in order to really answer that question, let's start with the question of, well, what does it mean to live spiritually? What is spiritual living? Just that in and of itself. What is spiritual living? And beyond the beyond implies that there's a, I don't know what, if this is beyond, then what's pre-beyond? What's inside the boundary that the beyond is beyond? What does it mean to be in the container, to be in the box? What does that mean? How does that inform our spiritual way of showing up? If we're really going to go there, then we also want to ask ourselves questions like, ask yourself the following questions. What brought me to New Thought? What brought me to unity? Why do I remain in New Thought and unity? What is the appeal? And I mean, really go there, because the more you can answer that question for yourself, the more it's going to show up as your lived experience. It's going to show up in how you say hello and good morning. It's going to show up in how you shovel snow. It's going to show up in how you are a caregiver for family members. It's going to show up in all of the ways that you show up because it is an embodied way of being. It's not just lip service. And oftentimes within New Thought, we get caught up in lip service. We get caught up in the jargon. In New Thought, we often talk about such things as enlightenment and evolving consciousness and healing and transformation. And yet, in many ways, best case scenario, we're barely scratching the surface. Worst case scenario, we're actually hindering ourselves and hindering others from truly living as divine beings. Breathe that in. Because if we're really going to, and I mean really going to step into this new way of being and a healing and beneficial presence to the world, especially knowing what all is going on in the world right now, New Thought is the very medicine. We are the very medicine that can be a healing presence to the world, no matter what's going on anywhere on the face of this planet. The more people know who and what they are, the more they will respond accordingly. Imagine for a moment that our political leaders knew what we know in New Thought. They knew who and what they were as divine incarnated beings of the One, that they are physical manifestations of love. Just imagine for a moment. What would that look like in terms of leadership? Thich Nhat Hanh, famous Buddhist monk, in the book The Art of Living, he references this idea he calls homo conscious, which is a new way of being in the world. And he says we can all contribute to helping this new way of being, homo conscious, the species that embodies mindfulness, embodies. The species that embodies mindfulness, embodies compassion, and embodies enlightenment. And through embodying this, we develop and we continue in the world for a long time. And we continue with a spiritual practice that gives us the ability to adapt, to survive, to thrive. And he says, therefore, there needs to be a kind of gentle revolution in each one of us. And once we've started a revolution in our own consciousness, it will bring radical change to our family, to our community, to the world. But first, we must be determined to change our way of living. Are we willing to change our way of living? So when we look at the 5 principles, God is. There is only one presence, only one power, active as the universe and our lives. God the good. What does it look like for me to embody that with the same resonance that I know my name per my parents giving it to me? My name is Raymont Anderson. I don't question it. I know it. To the degree when someone says, "Excuse me, sir, what is your name?" I don't, hold on, Siri, what is my, I don't question it. I respond accordingly. When I know God is in the same way, with the same absolute conviction, does it change how I show up? I am. My essence is of God. Therefore, I am inherently good. As Emma Curtis Hopkins says, my God is my good, and vice versa. My good is my God. I am inherently good. This God essence, divinity, called the Christ, called the Buddha, called whatever, is fully expressed as Jesus and is inherent in myself and all people. Do I know that? Is that affecting how I show up? In the same way that, and I don't know if you know any transgender individuals, but in the same way that there is this individual who says, What I am is not reflected in what you call me. It is not reflected in the clothes that I wear. It is not reflected in these cultural norms. And so they change, they transform, they come out to be their true selves, their true and most authentic selves. We have been conditioned to believe you're human. You are a spiritual being having a human experience. You are a sinner saved by grace. You should be ashamed. Dim your light. Turn that down. Don't be too proud. How dare you have the audacity to say that you are sacred, holy, and divine? We have been conditioned to dim our light, even to the degree where we will say, this little light of mine, nothing about that light is little. When we say God in us, yes, but God is not just in us, because then God can come outside of. No, 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 no. As Ernest Holmes said, for the highest God and the innermost God is one God and not two. Meister Eckhart said, between me and God, there is no between. Joel Goldsmith says, God expresses God, and that expression appears as you. There is no separation between what it is and what we are. In the same way that if God is all there is, then God is fully expressing as the caterpillar, and God is fully expressing as the butterfly. There is no, well, once you are enlightened, then. Before enlightenment, God is. After enlightenment, God is. Before enlightenment, I didn't know who and what I was. After enlightenment, I now know who and what I am. You are that which it is before you know, while you're learning, and on and on. There is nothing that changes it. There is no book. There is no scripture, there is no sutra, there is no candle, there is no song that can make any of us more God. If I were to ask you, cup of water, how can I make water more wet? You said, what now? Wetness is a natural byproduct of what water is. You can't make it more wet, and you can't make water more water. It is what it is, and you are what you are. You are that which God is, the divine, the infinite, the absolute, individualizing itself as you. And this idea of trans-spiritual living is understanding that, recognizing that, and then living from that space. Breathe that in for a moment. Because, for example, just as an example, what if instead of saying thank you to God, we embodied the gratitude so much that we understood that the gratitude, the thankfulness that we feel is God experiencing its own gratitude and thankfulness to such a degree that that gratitude and thankfulness shines throughout our aura to the degree where it impacts those within the same room and space where we are. And they then feel, I have no idea why I feel happy right now, but you know, I don't know. Woo, why? Oh, and they are awash with, and they have no idea why. But it's because we know, and we know that we know with such power and presence that it radiates out. So trans-spiritual living and living beyond the beyond is knowing that you don't simply do prayer, you are the very activity of what prayer is. Your life is your amen. Trans-spiritual living is living with this idea that says, how do I go to this? If I were to give you a math problem, 7 plus 3 equals. Any of us who know how to do the laws of mathematics know that there's only one answer to that. 7 plus 3 equals. We're all going to come to the same answer, 10. But if I say equals 10, now what comes on the left-hand side of the equal. There is an infinite number of ways you can equal 10. So are we focused more on the problem or on the solution? Trans-spiritual living invites us to live into the solution, the infinite possibilities of the moment I say, what is my desired experience? Health and well-being. Then how many different ways can I experience health and well-being? How many different ways can I manifest peace on earth, goodwill to all? Rather than saying, boom, this is what's wrong with the world. You know, these technology apps that they got from other countries, it's robbing and stealing us of our information. And that's the problem. That is not the problem. And even if it is the problem, we in New Thought understand that we are solution oriented, because solution is health and well-being. Solution is understanding what it means to be a divine expression of the absolute. So living a trans-spiritual life beyond the beyond occurs when we consciously align our mental equivalents, our thoughts and all our beliefs, our words and all of the ways we communicate, our emotions and feelings, and our actions. When we consciously align all four of those with the truth of being, which by default will actualize as our self-worth, self-care, our power, and our masterful stewarding of all of our talents, all of our divine power in life-affirming ways that then reveal the truth of all, and as a result, heals all. As we often say, there is nothing that needs to be healed, only truth to be revealed. Trans-spiritual living is how do we reveal the truth of our being, so that even when I receive a diagnosis that I don't necessarily like, I still understand that I am God expressing in this individual form. Even when there is 12 feet of snow, even when there are fires raging, even when there is ice, even when there is family drama and trauma, even when there is grief, even through it all, I understand that right here and right now, where I am, God is. The very power and presence of all that it is right where I am, as I am. That's what it means to live beyond the beyond, a trans-spiritual life, a life where we are not boxed in based on what we've been indoctrinated to believe about ourselves. There's a Buddhist quote that says, good friends, companions, and associates are the whole of the spiritual life. In other words, community. Community is what it means to be in spiritual life. Spiritual living is what it means to come together of one accord, love, one accord, harmony, unity, the divine truth of knowing who and what we are. That is the whole of spiritual life, where we are not ensnared by the error thinking of what's going on with wars and rumors of wars. We recognize it for what it is, just like a physician recognizes a broken bone for what it is, and then the physician acts. The physician does what they need to do. They reset the bone, they put it in a cast, and the body, knowing its own divine intelligence, the body mends the bone. We are invited to be the metaphysicians who recognize the brokenness, and we create the space to reset and mend and know that that which God is as the divine intelligence, it knows what to do to realign, to reassert, to reaffirm all that is wholeness, perfection, and completeness in you right now. Breathe. And we enter into that space that we call meditation. But this space is the activity of our everyday life. Because at any moment that we can pause and breathe, meditation is there. And meditation being that simple act of mindfulness where we pause and reconnect. We pause and reground, recharge. We tune in, we plug into that which is the infinite, knowing that this breath can only be breathed now. There is no rebreathing yesterday's breath. There is no pre-breathing tomorrow's breath. Just this inhale and this exhale in this present moment. So this breath anchors us to the here and now, which is the point of our power. Because it is right here and right now that we are afforded the opportunity to have a new thought, to be homo conscious, to be these beings who choose a new way of living, a new way of being, a new way of showing up. And this breath reminds us and restores and reinvigorates and reanimates us to do what is ours to do. As Maya Angelou said, when we know better, we do better. When we know who and what we are, then we do based on that knowing. When I know that I am an artist, what do? Create art. When I know that I am a singer, what do? Sing. When I know that I am a healer, what do? Heal. When I know that I am a teacher, what do? Teach. When I know that I am the infinite I am, that I am ever becoming more of, what do I do? And so we breathe into the silence and simply be present with all that God is. Breathe. This great light of mine, I must let it shine. Breathe. Between me and God, there is no between. Breathe. I am that I am, ever becoming more of what I am as a divine expression of God. Breathe. And as we prepare to come out of our meditation and continue the rest of our amazing and wonderfully transformative service, this awareness, this way of being beyond the beyond and living a trans-spiritual life, being homo conscious, a new way of being, continues with us throughout today, on into tomorrow, and beyond. The power that we are today, tomorrow, and beyond, because that which God is, and our lives are our amen. And so it is.
Thanks for watching the weekly broadcast from Unity of Fredericksburg. Visit our website, uofva.org, to learn more about our mission of spiritual awakening and transformation, and support our ministry with your financial donation.